Okay, so in this video, let's talk about alternating colors. So let's start with an easy method and get that out of the way. If you have some data set like this, you can just highlight your data and go under Format and Alternate Colors. And then you can choose your formattings. Now, in this data set, we have headers on top, see? So I'm gonna have that checked. We don't have footers, which would be an extra row for like totals or whatever you would do, I guess, below. And the rest, we can choose some of these styles that are already pre-selected for you. You can just go right away and pick one. Or if you don't like any of these, you can create your own styles by simply just choosing the colors here. So the first one is the header color on top, right there. And then you have the color for your rows, right? So see, there's the white color for this one. We can choose a different color for this or for both. So whatever you're gonna do. So you choose your colors here and then you click done. And there it is. And as you start adding new lines here, you should see that works out. I'm gonna delete some of these. So this is pretty good and you should use it if it works for you. But it also has some limitations. So one of the limitations is that if you decide to do a dark background color for one of these, like if I choose the color 1 or color 2 to be a lot darker, then we can't really see what's going on because we don't have an option to choose the font color. It's just the background color. So let's see how we can do something that will also let us maybe change the color of the font lighter so that this works out. So I'm gonna just hit done. So just to show you how to remove this, if this is already done, you would just select this, go to, again, Format, Alternating Colors, and just click Remove Alternating Colors. Now the next method we're gonna do is not gonna be as easy as the first one. So we're gonna use a formula to make this happen. And for that, we're gonna use a few functions here. So the first function we're gonna talk about is row. So if I just do row function like this, hit enter, see what it does. It basically gives you the row number in the current row. See, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now what I can do another function here, which is even or is odd. I'm gonna choose is even and click on this number. And you'll see that the result I'm getting from this is true because this number is even. And if I drag it down, 3 is gonna be odd. So see, that's a false and then it's even again, so true. So by doing this, I get this true, false, true, false, true, false. Now I'm gonna combine all of these together. Instead of doing two separate formulas, I'm just gonna go in here and put this row function inside of is even and drag it down. Delete this. So what you want to remember is anything that's true, that's gonna get the color. Anything that's false is not gonna get the color you apply. So right now, see, this is true. So the first colored line is gonna be this, then it's gonna be this. Now, if I want to switch the order so that this is the first color line and then this one, then I'm gonna switch this from is even to is odd. Now, once I got this formula going, then I'm gonna go ahead and select the first formula on top, copied, hit escape, and then I'm gonna select my data set starting from that first line, and then all the way down to select my data. And then I'm gonna go under Format and do Conditional Formatting. So under Conditional Formatting, I'm gonna choose the option that should be the last one that says Custom Formula Is. And as a custom formula, I'm gonna paste the formula we had. It's very important when you select your data to make sure you select your data starting from that first row in your data and going down, the same place where I copied the formula here on the right. So I'm just gonna paste the formula. You can already see it applies this formatting. Now we can choose what formatting we like here. So if I want to do a dark background, and a lighter color text, I hit done, and that should take care of it. And you can delete this. it should still work the same way. So there it is. That's our conditional formatting that creates this alternating colors. So now taking this knowledge, we can also do 3 color alternating colors, or 4 or 5, however many you need. So this was just 2 color, white and this purple thing, right? So first of all, let me just get rid of this conditional formatting and delete the rule. And I'm going to go back and do that same row function. This time, however, I'm not going to use is odd or is even because I need more than 2 options. So for that, I'm going to use the function mod, which basically allows you to calculate the remainder. So if you don't know what remainder means, let me just try to explain that to you in a simple way. So let's say we have a number and it's 9, right? And we're trying to divide it by 4. So we can't divide 9 by 4 and get a whole number. So if we take 9, like I'm just going to select 9 cells here, like this. So if we divide this 9 by 4, we can get 1 4 to fit in here. Then we can get another 4 to fit in here. And then we're going to get this 1 cell in the end that we cannot divide by 4 anymore because it's not big enough. So in this case, we just got 1 as a remainder. Now, if we try to divide this 9 instead of this by 3, for example, then we can get 1 3, then 2 3s, and then another 3, and then it covers the whole thing. So the remainder in this case would be 0. Final example here, let's divide this by 5. So if we do 5, then we're going to take 1 2 3 4 5. And then we have these 4 left. So we cannot take this 4 and divide it by 5 because it's smaller than 5 at this point. So that's going to be our remainder, so 4. So that's kind of the idea behind this. And that mod function is going to do this for you. So if I go here and do mod and take whatever this row number is, comma, and then whatever we're dividing this by. So let's say I'm going to go 2. What we're going to get is 2 divided by 2, which is this 2 by this 2. The remainder would be 0. Now, if I drag this down, see 3 divided by 2, the remainder is 1. 4 divided by 2, you can divide 4 by 2 without having a remainder, so 0. So we get this pattern of 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1, similar to that true-false example. Now, if I go to this same formula and change this 2 to 3 and drag this down, what you're going to notice is that the pattern will change here. So see, we get 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, because basically we get that same remainder happening all over again, now by 3. And then if I change this to 4 and drag this down, we're going to get 2, 3, 0, 1. So depending on how many we're dividing this by, we're going to get that many options. So if I do 4, I get 4 different unique options in this list. If I do 3, I get 3 unique options in this list. So let's do 3 and drag this down. Now at this point, if I wanted to color the zeros, which is this, 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 and this, then I could take this formula and check, is that equal to, well, let's do it here separately. Is this equal to 0? And then we get, see, true, false, false, true. So all the 0 cases will say true. So now I'm going to take this and combine it into a single formula instead of having this 3. So here, I'm going to do equals mod. And then right inside of that function, I'm going to take the row number and put it in here, close parentheses for this function, comma, and then do that 3 to divide by 3. And then I'm going to check, is that equal to 0? Which should basically be this one. Now, these used to use this first column, so I'm going to delete these. But you'll see that we get true, then we're going to skip 2, then true again, skip 2, true again, and so it goes. So now we can take this formula, copy this, hit escape, Go back and select our data, starting from that first row from our data. Go to Format, Conditional Formatting, and choose Formula option. Paste the formula in here, and choose whatever color you decide you want to do here. So I'll just pick this one for now. Press Done. So this will now let me do every third row in this particular color. Now, if I wanted to also do the one right next to this purple color, so if you remember, the way we get this is 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, just to make sure we're on the same page here. Let me just copy this and paste it here. So these purple ones are zeros. Now the next one down is going to be 1, and the next one down is going to be 2. So assuming I want to color code this one in a different color, then that's going to be the case of 1. So I'm just going to go back and reselect the same data like this. Go to Format and Conditional Formatting. This was the first conditional formatting I did. I'm just going to click on this and copy this formula from here because it's going to be pretty much the same thing. I'm going to get out of this. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to add another rule. And we'll just do custom formula is, paste this here, and instead of 0, we'll change it to 1, which will shift to the next line down. So now I can choose some other color for this and press Done. And if you wanted to do a different color for this third line, then you just add another rule like this. Custom formula is, paste the formula, change 0 to 2, and we just choose whatever formatting we want for this. And there it is. That's your 3 color. Now, if you wanted to do 4, then you could just use the same logic. So you would just divide this by 4 instead of dividing by 3, and then you would go 0, 1, 2, 3 as equals to go with that. So you can do as many as you like. Basically, take this logic and take it from there. For me, I'm just going to delete all of this. And by the way, these are not linked to that, so you can always delete that once you're done. Now, the next one I want to talk about is how to do conditional formatting for columns. So let's say you don't want the rows to be highlighted like that. You want the columns to go one color, another color, one color, another color. Or maybe you want to do this 3 color thing again. So it's going to be very similar. So the difference is going to be that instead of using the row function, you would use column function. So if I do column, and this is formatted as a date, let me just change this to this and drag this. See, it gives us column number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So now I can take this column number and check, is it even or is it odd? Or we can do that mod if you want to do like 3 color sort of thing. I'm just going to go with is even, is odd in this case. Just keep that simple. But the same thing applies from this point on. So I'm just going to do is even. And you will see that what's going to happen, I'm going to get this false, true, false, true, false, true. So now once I got this formula to this point, I'm just going to copy the first formula, hit escape, go back and select my data again, starting, see, from the first column. That's where I copied this formula. The whole data set. Go to Format, Conditional Formatting. And we're going to change this to custom formula and paste our formula right in there. And you should see how that color coding now works. Done. Now, if you want a different color for the white one, then instead of even, you can use odd. So if I just add the rule and do custom formula is, paste my formula and just change even to odd, then I can choose a different color for this. So now we have 2 column sort of thing. And again, you don't need to keep these formulas here. Now, the last thing I'm going to go over is a little bit more complicated case. So let's say we have some sort of grouped data let me create an extra worksheet here and just type some example. So something like this, doesn't really matter. The main thing I want you to pay attention to here is that I have this January that has for these 3 people, then we have February for 2, then we have March for 1, then we have April for 2. So it's not always the same number for each one of these groups. So basically we have like January, that could be any number of columns. Then we have February that again could be any number of columns. And then we have March, April. And we need to kind of color code and change from one color here to February being a different column, then March being this column, and then April another column. So to do this, I'm going to go back to this, and then I'm going to do a formula. And actually, to make this easy to understand, let me start the formula here. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to highlight every column on top here up to this column like this, and check, is that not equal to blank? So this is an array formula. So to spill the results, I'm going to do Control-Shift-Enter or Command-Shift-Enter to put this array formula. And then now if I hit enter, see I get true, false, false, true. And what this refers to is basically it starts from here. So see this first one is not blank. So that's true. Then we have 2 blanks. And then we have February, which is, as you can see, not blank again, so that gives us true. Now, if I take this formula and just lock this first column reference and the row reference and the row reference as well, but not lock the last column reference, which in this case is D, just leave that one open. I'm going to add $signs for the rest of these. If I take that formula and copy it, and because it's an array and it's going to basically paste a bunch of values, I'm just going to copy and paste it maybe here. So if I go back and look inside of this formula, the first one, see, you'll see what it did. It squished this whole thing from A1 through A1. Basically, we're dealing with a single cell and we're checking, is it not equal to blank, which is where we get true. Now, if I copy that and paste it here in the next column and the next row, again, to just make sure this doesn't get on the way of something. If I look here, see, I get true and false, which basically, in this case, see, if I drag one to the right, it basically gets me these 2, and this is true, and this is false, because this one is not blank, this is blank. And then if I take that same formula and copy it and paste it here in the third column, see, again, I get true, false, false. And then we got this one after that, which is this case for February, the next one over, which is going to give me true, false, false, true again. And then as we keep going, basically, what we're going to get is something that is going to replace this text with true and blanks with false. And depending on how far we get to, that's how many it's going to include in our formula. So if our formula is in the first column, it's only going to just do this first column. Once we're in the second column, it's going to do first 2 columns. And then so it goes. Now, the reason this is useful is because now if I take this true, false, false, true, and put it inside of some product function, it's going to give me 2, because what some product is going to do, it's going to calculate every true as 1 and every false as 0. So we had 2 trues, so we got 2 as a result. Now, if I take this and do that same thing for all of these columns, so now I can drag this formula left and right without worrying of things spilling out like this, then I can delete all of this. Now, you'll be able to see what I get is basically with this formula, I got 1, 1, 1 for this first January, then February gets me 2s, and then March gets me 3, and then April gets me 4s. So now I have unique numbers for each group using this formula. Now, because some product can handle arrays inherently, we don't really have to put this array formula in here anymore. So I can just take that off to simplify this. And if I drag this right, we should get the same results. So we can either check if they're even or odd, or we can also do that mod function again to divide this by any number we want to basically do like 3 color, 4 color. Again, I'm just going to go with even or odd in this case. So I'm just going to take this and put it inside of is even. And if I drag this, you'll see that this first group is false, then it's true, then it's false, then it's true. So it just works out. So now because we have this false and true formula, I should be able to just copy this first formula on the left, which is basically this formula working with that single A1 cell. I'm going to copy that, hit escape, and select my data. Again, I'm just going to go the whole thing, but you could just select however much you like. Go to Format, Conditional Formatting. The important part is to make sure you select starting from the same column where you copied the formula, which is this January column. So I'm just going to change this to custom formula is, paste my formula in here, and you can already see it's working. So now I'm going to just change the color to whatever color I want to do, press done. And if I wanted a different color for the first group, instead of white, I'm just going to add another rule, custom formula is, paste the formula, and change my is even to is odd, and pick a color. Now I can just delete this. And remember, this whole thing is working based on this January. See, it's looking at this blanks and this January, and it knows that should be the next basically color over. Now, if I go in here for March and add another column, see, it automatically turns into this because it looks at this March and this is blank and it knows what to do. And then similar for this one, if I add another one, see, that goes to that color. If I delete one of these columns, it just works fine. If you wanted your headers section here to be a little darker or a little different from this, then you could just apply that same logic here. So when you were doing this formulas for conditional formatting, see right now they go from A1 through I12. So I can just go in here and instead of starting from first row, I can start from the third row in here, A3. And if I hit done, that will take that color off. I'm going to do the same for this range as well, starting from 3. And I'll just copy this formula because I'm going to need it in a second. Done. So this should take care of the data part. So now to do that color coding for headers in a different color, I just use the same formula, just choose a different color, right? So I select this, format, conditional formatting, custom formula is, we paste it, and we choose the color we decide we like for this. Done. And then I repeat the same for the second one by doing custom formula and changing odd to even. And choose a color. And this should also work if you just merge these cells on top. And just to confirm that still works. See, no problem. And that should do it for this video. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.